The pass goes Stabler. Looking. He runs. He's at the 15. He's thrown. It is a touchdown Raiders. Touchdown Raiders. When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Get fired up. I ain't playing. I'm telling you, get fired up. Stand up. Get out of that chair, moron. It's time for the Degos. That's right, Murf and Sonny from the Dego Dungeon. You got it right here, live.
Welcome in to another episode of Raiders Repertoire. I am your host, Sonny. I am one half of the Degos. The other half is Murf. In studio with me, as always. Murf, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Glad to be here, holding it down in the Raider Dego Dungeon South.
Yes, sir. We just had an exclusive interview. Exclusive. You'll only find it tonight on our show with a man by the name of Aaron Chambers. He is the president and founder and creator of Bend, Oregon Raider Nation, otherwise known as Born. It's in the fourth year of existence. They currently have over 500 people in their Facebook group. And Aaron, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. What's up? Thanks for having me.
Hey, first off, Aaron, real quick question. What motivated you personally to get a booster club going?
Well, I've been a diehard Raider fan my entire life. You know, I grew up going to games down in Southern Cali for a little bit. My father took me to a bunch of the LA games. Grew up watching them up here in Oregon as well. And I'd always go to the bar here to watch the game when it wasn't on TV or, you know, direct TV package is $300, $400 or whatever. And then they screw you in the end and charge you like $300 extra a month for all the movie channels you don't ever watch. And so, you know, we used to always argue with the manager at the local bar that was a big Cowboys fan and the owner of the sports bar that was a Patriots fan. You have to walk underneath a Patriot symbol when you walk into the bar. And so, you know, that kind of got old after a while. And I seen, after time, seeing all these different Raider booster clubs and kind of more and more with social media starting to hit off with MySpace and then Facebook and seeing what they do and, like, the good stuff they do, too. And I was like, yeah, we should just form a coalition of diehard Raider fans and do the same thing. We all get together, take over a bar, have our own spot, watch the games wherever and whenever we want, and do some good stuff for the community. And, you know, it was really an idea I had years back. I made a little Facebook page for it, never acted on it because I knew once it kind of got started that it would steamroll a little bit because there's a bunch of Raider fans here in Bend, Oregon. And I was right. Once we implemented Bend, Oregon Raider Nation, the first year was a little bit slower. I mean, it was in the middle of the losing seasons.
Which one?
The diehards were coming out. Is that a trick question?
That's a multiple choice question, that's for sure.
But, you know, 4 years ago, so that one. And, you know, a couple years before that, I remember meeting this one season ticket holder that when he found out how much I loved the Raiders, he said, come down to Oakland. You can have one of my extra seats anytime you want as long as you make that drive. And that whole season, I came down to every single home game. And that was, I think, the worst season that we had ever had. But I had a lot of fun, and I was a diehard and did it.
You know, it's interesting. You're in Bend. I'm up here located in Salem, Oregon, so it's about 3 hours away. I've been to Bend several times. It's changed over the last, 10, 15 years, as you well know. You got some beatniks and you got some stuff coming through with the influence of Portland. So I wouldn't imagine there would be a big Raider fan base out there. So as the club, I mean, how do you start the booster club? Like you're the diehard, you're in there in Bend. How does that even come to be? Like, what do you do? Just announce it and then people start showing up, or what?
Yeah, super grassroots style. Like, I let's make a flyer. and the first flyer I made had the the phone numbers at the bottom, kind of like trying to relate it to something, but where so you want a kid that's gonna mow your lawn for money in the summertime or something. So it had the email address cut up at the bottom of the black and white flyer. And I'm a promoter, so I do have that background. I used to throw a lot of rap concerts and reggae shows and stuff like that. And I've been a DJ and a musician all my life too. So I got the promotion background. So I went out there with the grassroots, get the word out, put the posters all over the city, and that's kind of how we started with that. And then that's when Facebook started to become more of a bigger influence too, and the social stuff like the Instagrams and we just kind of rode that wave, and I think that's helped quite a bit. And as well as doing all the community stuff after that first year when we adopted a couple highways and started doing more stuff and doing the dinners at the homeless shelter here, then get a little more recognition and a little bit of media from the local independent paper and the local normal delivered daily paper, the Bend Bulletin, which actually I think you said you had read some of that article. That's the first time they wrote about us. They had a little paragraph like a year ago, but I always send out the positive stuff we do, and I was hoping they'd pick up on it someday. And they finally wrote a really cool story about us, besides saying that I worked for an outdoor clothing company as a tech.
Well, it's Bend, Oregon. Outdoor clothing company makes sense.
Hey, whatever, you can say whatever you want about me. Just get a lot of the facts right,
Right.
Tell them that we're doing good stuff.
Hey, Aaron, first off, I like to commend, this is Murf, I'd like to commend you on not only putting together the Booster Club, but I think the diversity of it and by going out and doing things outside of, just the gatherings of watching the Raider games and by giving back to the community and serving the way that you all do, I think is really, really cool. But I'd like to ask you, talk a little bit about the group, about the Booster Club. You mentioned, your fandom, the genesis was going to games with your dad as a kid. That's Sonny and I's story exactly too. That's exactly how we became Raider fans, and I love the name of your group being Born, because I think that we're most of us, all of us, are born Raider fans. But anyways, so tell us a little bit about the group, about the Booster Club, and about the folks that you have to get together every week on Sundays.
Man, we just got a really cool group of people. Definitely call them family after years. There's definitely a more integral, diehard core to it, and a lot of them are the people that picked up right when we started it 4 years ago. And we used to watch the game. The first year we did it, it was at a place called the Volcanic Theater Pub, which is, more your little beatnik hipster spot, like you said, in Bend, Oregon. And they have it's a drop-down theater-sized movie screen. And they have a wireless projector there. And so we were streaming the game from a computer through the wireless projector. And so the players are like life-size. And you have couches all over the place that you're sitting at. That place was a little limiting because it was through computer, so you get the issue that a computer might have sometimes, which really sucks. It's 4th down and 1 with 20 seconds left to win the game, and you're buffering
and freeze.
Man,
and freeze.
So I was like, we can never do that again. So then the next year we moved to a place called the Summit, where we've been, which is a great place, great staff. They accommodate us and totally hook us up, and they give us the whole upstairs. And they also have a smaller size drop-down projector screen that's HD. That's perfect for the size of the room and the amount of people. We can fit 200, 250 people up there. And that's kind of what we get when it's full capacity. But, the people are, they've really gotten into it. Like I said, a lot of the diehards inside of the group that are very giving people, very into the community stuff, willing to donate lots of time, lots of energy as far as like cleaning, like adopted highways and parks, and financially supporting it too, and putting some money into some of these different foundations that we're working with, like a homeless veterans group here too, called COVO, Central Oregon Veterans Alliance, Central Oregon Veterans Outreach, that help feed the local homeless veterans that we have here. And also Ronald McDonald House, we got the bigger, dudes that are willing to give their physical bodies to lift heavy things for them when they need assistance in like emptying semi trucks of random stuff for events that they do too. So they've even had me play. I was in a charity basketball game for them once, playing against some of it wasn't the Harlem Globetrotters, but it was like the B version of that team. Harlem something else. But lots of cool stuff, but really a core group of people that really care, and all have that passion for the Raiders though too. The silly Facebook post that it's the fourth quarter and we're losing, and you see that one post in the group that says, "Come on, man!" ! I'm just like, you really didn't need to put that up there, but that's cool.
Aaron, you mentioned a bunch of stuff that you're doing that's phenomenal. And it reminds me, I was at a Seattle Mariners game against the Oakland Athletics. It was the second to the last game of the year. Mariners had a chance to win the playoffs. The A's ended up beating them, but I was there wearing my Raider gear like it's just what I always do. And I broke up two fights between a drunken A's fan, go figure, right, and a Mariners fan.
Uh-huh.
And I remember as I broke them up, the first time it was no big deal. The second time I broke it up, this lady goes, "You're a Raiders fan?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "And you're actually breaking up fights?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course. I don't want to see people fight." Do you find sometimes you get the same reaction to maybe the people in Bend? Because there's, Raiders fans, they dress up, they're crazy, they're gangsters, they're thugs. There's a reputation to a certain degree that's a little bit false, I think, a little bit true. Do you find that people are more shocked when they find out you're all Raiders fans? And do they accept you guys?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely, that traditional deal that with thugs and gangsters and all that stuff. And that's what's so fun about being out there. I'll see people, they'll be seeing us picking up the trash on the side of the road, get the little, they must have let you out of the jailhouse or whatever deal. But yeah, I'm like, cool. Where's your football club? Where's your, what have you done for your community and all this stuff? And it's all good. It gives us a great reputation. Everybody, it's taking years, but a lot of people in Bend got, great respect for who we are in the community, because we've just been so consistent at doing so many cool things. And it's out there, you see the plaque at the park that has, our name on it. And it's cool because it's not just repping us, it's repping the entire Raider Nation. And, Raider Nation does it big. There's no other, there's a couple other small NFL booster clubs, but there's nothing like the Raider Nation. And I've been inspired by all these other groups that were, laying more of the foundation, like the 66 mob across from the entrance to the stadium.
Grandfather Grizz.
Godfather Grizz. He's out there, on foot the other day. I saw a recent post just like 2 days ago, like bringing food to homeless camps in Oakland. And that's as grassroots as it gets, hooking people up that have nothing and not afraid to go into their domain and stuff. So pretty cool stuff that's inspired me, and definitely all that inspiration has led me to try to get involved in all this different stuff, which luckily everybody that's in Bourne has been down with and also supported. And I know sometimes it's a lot. You know, sometimes like this last month we had to do the homeless shelter dinner like 2 times in a week and a half. And then we also had Jerry Robinson come into town. And then we were doing the Christmas parade. And then 4Dub was doing a show that weekend. So, I mean, that's the culmination of the year right there. But it's a lot of work to do that. And it's a lot of sacrifice for a lot of different people to help make all that happen. So just a good core of people that are willing to help and do all that good stuff. And then Sunday comes along and we're all yelling at the screen.
Aaron, you mentioned going down and going to games regularly yourself, going to all those home games. Has the group done any outings to home games yet? Have you gone down there as Bourne yet as a collective?
You know, we've talked about it and we haven't really acted on it yet. It is something that's in the works for the future, but it is a little more of a big step as far as financially securing like a bus and pulling that all off. And that's something I've looked into, but just kind of have backed away from a little bit just because it is such a project to make that happen. But yeah, definitely something that's been on the mind before. I haven't thought about it lately, so thanks for the reminder.
Yeah,
but you know, all kinds of stuff. You know, like, you know, we made shirts, and now, you know, we got the hoodies, and then, you know, people want other things, and so we keep trying to keep up with all the ideas and implement all the different cool stuff and make more cool gear. I'm the one that made the logo also. I also do a little, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Graphic design.
Graphic, thank you.
Yeah.
I do. I make posters and stuff from promoting from years ago, so I mess around with some stuff. But yeah, and I've been the one that's created all that stuff too. So, you know, it's a constant push, and I have 2 sons, and day job and et cetera.
You have 2 sons, a day job, you're in a rap group, you're feeding the homeless, you're driving down to home. Do you sleep, Aaron?
I do. I try to do that at nighttime. And usually about midnight to 6 a.m. is my cycle. And
hey, Aaron,
I've been making all these. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I seen a post on December 24th where you went to the hospital to support a fellow Raider fan up there in Bend who was in I believe it was a car accident. You put up a Raider flag. You gave him a Raider hoodie. What did that mean for you to be a part of his life in a difficult moment, and just how the Raiders can connect you to these different circumstances you find yourself in?
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. You know, I mean, I see people doing that kind of stuff all the time, and I wish I had more of a connection, and that's something I got to look into as far as, you know, people that aren't doing as well in different certain situations. I know a guy named Smiley down in Los Angeles area that runs a club there, Raider Nation for Life, and I know he works a lot with the kids with cancer and constantly visiting them with the Superfan Violator. Those guys roll through a lot of the children's hospitals. I know Grim Raider also said he did the same thing, but that there's more and more challenges as far as just visiting people in the hospital, as far as having to get all this different screening and stuff just to do it. But yeah, it means a lot. Like, you see somebody that's not as in a bright place as they could be, and you know, this guy Chuck, his friend, reached out to me, said, hey, he's heard about Bourne. He's in a different part of Oregon, but they're moving his buddy to the hospital in Bend because that's where, you know, they focus on his situation. He was in a bad car accident a couple weeks ago. He's paralyzed from the waist down now. and knows like 2 people in Bend or something like that. And he's a diehard Raider fan, and he's going to be living in Bend. I'm like, cool. Well, he's a member of the group. Let's go give him the royal greeting and say hi, introduce ourselves. We're going to be around each other, and he's in a situation where he could probably use a buddy. And then then I go down there and talk to him, and this guy is giving me more positive lessons on life than I thought I was going to be getting. He's telling me how you have to have a positive outlook and you have to roll with the punches and this and that, and just making me go, wow, what a cool dude. So
you were going down there to cheer him up, and he all of a sudden turns the tables on you.
Yeah, he flipped the script. And I was like, oh man, this stuff is crazy. So the more positive, good stuff you do, I see where it continues to create more of that around you and around everybody too. The residual effect of it, where it's constantly inspiring other people, and that's just, you can't go wrong there. It's just positive on top of positive, and even Bronco fans notice, and they don't want to say anything, but then they have to eventually because their team can't make the playoffs, so they're stuck, and they have to say, hey, we like what you do.
Those type of works and that outreach, I think that to me again is one of the most commendable things about what you all do, and we really appreciate your willingness to go out there into your communities and to do that. On a less serious note, my question would be, what is speaker? You said positivity, and it kind of resonated with me a little bit. What's this season been like for you and for your group? There's so many things extraneous that's going on with the Raiders, with the whole stadium issues and all that we see from our interactions on social media. There's a lot of negativity that surrounds the team in the midst of a stinking, season that's been unprecedented since 2002, when there should be nothing but positivity and nothing but things to be celebrated. And it still seems like there's infighting in the fans, and there's City fans, and then there's Raider fans. It's just this. Have you guys noticed that, or have you felt that at all too up there? And really, Sonny and I have just committed to look. We're gonna enjoy this season for what it is, because there is so much good, and we're gonna focus on the good, and we're gonna talk about the good. We're not gonna dwell on any of the negative stuff that's going on. But it's still echoing out there. It's still out there. Has that been like that for you all? And what is your Raiders season been like so far?
It's been great, of course, amazing. I look at the season and I see all these wins that we've piled up and other games that we should have won and could have won. And I see all these close wins that all should have not been so close, because we got so much more talent if they're hitting on all cylinders, that we should be blowing some of these teams out of the water. And, but we're young as well, so it's just learning how to play with each other and stuff too. I think the whole core of everybody. As far as the whole stadium deal, it's a bunch of background noise, and I think up here from our standpoint in Bend, Oregon, it's not as connected as far as the fight of it, as far as someone that's from Oakland that's trying to see their team stay in Oakland, or someone from Las Vegas who thinks it would be cool to have a team in Las Vegas, and their team is the Raiders. And we try not to get involved. I try not to get involved in any of all that political stuff, because here's a Dennis Allen quote: at the end of the day,
we bringing back some bad memories there, man. Careful. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have a red Sharpie sticking out of my visor.
Oh yeah, no visors, please, no visors. No visors. That's the one thing. When I saw the Chargers coach being interviewed after losing to the Browns, I'm like, man, you just got to get rid of the visor. That's the first step. Get rid of the visor. Coaches with visors, man. I don't know. It's only for college. Sometimes it works.
Only for college and Gruden.
Yeah, for Gruden. Yeah, Gruden's the one pass on it. But yeah, I don't really think it affects us that much here, but I believe the majority here doesn't want to see the team move.
No. Do you feel like, Sonny and I are like, we are Oakland Raider fans. We don't want to see the team move either, not by any means. I mean, there's no good way to have a scenario where the team moves, and I think that everybody be okay with it. We obviously are first and foremost Oakland Raider fans. But that said, if they do move, my fandom, well, yeah, it's going to be different, but I don't feel it's going to be impacted as an overall. I'm still going to be a Raiders fan no matter what, and Sonny as well. Does that a feeling amongst your group? Is that, and I don't think, and let me preface this too, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. That's also one of the things we've been saying on the show is that, look, if you're an Oakland Raiders fan and that's your thing and you don't want to root for them anymore and migrate your fandom to another team, then God bless you. We wouldn't begrudge anybody. It's the lashing out, the negative part of it is the part that we don't necessarily agree with. But what does your group feel like? What is your experience with it? Are you gonna, are you guys Raider fans no matter what, or do you think people will become, I don't know, Seahawks fans or whatever else their interests are up there?
Easy, Murf. Easy.
Hey.
I don't know about you Oregonians up there. It's awful cold. You guys get cooped up a lot. I don't know what to think.
We hate the Seahawks. I hate the Seahawks. The 12s.
I remember one day watching the game in Bend here, and they showed the possible stadium plan for Las Vegas on the screen. The whole place booed. Like that's just the consensus feeling. That was just a natural reaction of everybody else in the house. That was just me standing there watching it. And I was like, wow, these people all feel pretty strongly that, they want their Raiders and they want them to stay in Oakland. And that was just me witnessing that scenario. And yeah, I think the majority of us are Raiders no matter what. And we're going to be a Raider fan where the Raiders are. But I think that the majority of us also don't want to see Oakland lose their team and believe that the Raiders' soul and heart is in the city of Oakland. And for them to get uprooted for a second time would be pretty devastating for that area, for sure.
Yeah, we agree.
It's definitely not something we like to talk about or even think about, especially in the midst of the first 12-win season in 13 years. But it is the ugly elephant in the room, Yeah,
it's unfortunate that this is all happening at the same time as such a great year. That they just don't have like a better plan hammered out that can tell us that what's going on. But we got a lot of people working in the background on it. And I know it's been such a residual, constant grind of no answers for years, and Oakland not being able to make it work, that people don't have a very good positive outlook on what Oakland can do. But I don't know, we got some people that are on board right now that are some big names, Marcus Allen, Ronnie Lott, and I even saw MC Hammer showed up at the meeting recently.
He ain't got no money though.
No, but he was doing this dance across the floor.
Hey, the only
yeah.
The only thing worse than the Raiders. John. Sorry, I got one more. The only thing worse than the Raiders moving would be what happened last Sunday. Like, could you pile us? Could you pile on us anymore? Why can't we have nice things too? You know what I mean? Like, I remember when the pinky was the big deal. I know we all do, but I mean, isn't that just unbelievable? It's like we finally thought we turned a corner, healthy organization, good coach, good front office, franchise quarterback, double-digit season or double-digit wins in a season, headed to the playoffs, and then boom, the lights get turned out. I mean, we all have faith in McGloin, and we're all gonna root for him, I know, to the end. But man, you'd want to just talk about throwing a wrench into it, man. That was rough this last Sunday.
Aaron, here's a quick question. What do you think's more likely? The Raiders stay in Oakland, or McGloin takes the Raiders to the Super Bowl?
That's a trick question.
No, that's a trick question.
Those are both wild cards.
True. True.
I'm gonna say it's a 2-for-1 that both can become a reality.
There you go.
There we go. Good answer.
What's more likely? I don't know. McGloin, he's got skills, he does, and he's been behind a superstar, so he hasn't had a chance to play, and so we don't know. He's got a whole different team around him than he did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last time we've seen him, he had nobody. Now he has some toys to play with. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, and if you see the highlight video that we shared it on our 4Dub page, which has been resoundingly blowing up. It's someone else's video that they already made about him being like the underdog comeback kid, and we shared it on our page. I think it's at like 180,000 views in the last 2 days.
Wow.
So people are loving the story, and it's given something positive to draw off of the situation. And he's really, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's on our page, but it's a 5-minute little video, and it's got a bunch of Raider highlight clips from the couple of games he played in, and he has a highlight reel. So, I think there's promise, especially I remember him being a really good manager too. So, as far as on top of all the other stuff, just making the right decisions. And you know what, last week's game before Derek Carr situation happened, I think the majority of that game was us running. I believe there was our rookies just running left and right, Washington, just plowing through the lines. That's
Aaron,
what got us all the points.
You mentioned 4Dub. Before we let you go, I definitely want to make sure we plug that a little bit. 4Dub is the rap group you're a part of. You've been in it for 3 years. Your stage name, I believe, is Raider Mystic. You're playing this Friday night, I believe, in Denver with a show associated with the Oakland Raiders Soldier Booster Club, which is located there, I think, in Boulder, Colorado. Chris Ellis is the president. Can you just describe a little bit what is 4Dub and what has that done for you as far as being in that group and being a Raiders fan and stuff like that?
Man, 4Dub is just a group just making music all about the Raiders. That's all it is making really good music only about the Raiders for the Raider Nation. And I've been a musician all my life, and I've been in the bands. I tried to make it, and I've been on the tours that got canceled the night before. We were supposed to do like 10 nights in a row as a drummer, and just almost making it. If you ever heard of this Jewish reggae singer named Mattis Yahu?
Yeah.
You know that guy?
Oh yeah.
He was a former roommate of mine here in Bend in 1998, 1999, and we had a band, and we were doing really well. And he moved to New York. This is a whole other 30-minute story, but and then he blew up, and he kind of he didn't really talk to the rest of us anymore. So I've got to see people that I've been good friends with blow up musically, and never quite got the opportunities, and work with a lot of really cool people too. But basically, I was just friends with Shalif on Facebook. We were talking a little bit, and he saw that I DJ'd and that I rapped a little bit, and saw me freestyling or something. I don't know where he caught me at, but he made this song called Soul Raider, and he thought it would be cool if I'd want to try to do a verse on it. And that song to date is like still one of the fans' favorites for us. Everybody sings that song. We got a music video on YouTube. You can look up for Soul Raider. But I dropped that verse, and him and some of his buddies were down. They thought that I had something a little more special, and he kept me on board. We're 3 full albums done now, and it keeps elevating. And as of just the last couple of months, we've gone from just a few thousand fans on our Facebook page. Tonight we'll be hitting 10,000. I mean, it's
Wow.
going up in the thousands like every couple of days right now as we speak. It's just like all these, and I've been making these little highlight videos too with our music in the background that I've been putting up on our 4Dub Facebook page. So I try to take the game that we win of the previous week and do like some replays and highlights to it with our music in the background. And people have been loving those and sharing those. And, some of those are like at like 30,000. I think the one from the Bronco game's at 50,000. And I can't keep up with all the notification stuff that's coming up from it. It's just like a constant thing. And then with sharing the McGloin comeback story off of our page, and that like gonna be hitting like 200,000 like tonight or something. But it's just the little notification little dots are going off the charts. But
I noticed
it's been super positive.
Go ahead.
Go for it. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I noticed in the San Diego Smoked video you featured one of San Diego's finest rappers in the beginning.
Yeah, we didn't like what he said about the Raiders.
That guy's a chump. Oh my gosh.
We're good people, but there's this one Bronco rapper that he has us in the background in his music video. I'll have to forward you the link to that one.
Yeah.
And so we've made 4 songs for Denver because of it. Don't pick on us because we'll just blow you out of the water with skill. That San Diego rapper. Yeah.
What's his name? I can never remember his name. Does he even have a name?
The one other guy's Mercury Hornbolt, and then I think he goes by Mercury. I can't recall. I think it's Mercury. I'd have to look it up. But he made a silly video rapping in like a shed in the back of his parents' house, ripping on the Raiders.
Have you seen it, Josh? I'm
scrolling through him now, looking at you.
It's so bad, it's beautiful, dude. San Diego Superchargers.
Yeah, and we felt bad for like ripping on him so hard, at first, and then he came out with more stuff, and so then we have a whole song for him on one of our albums where we just destroy the whole Charger fan base. And then the complete obliteration came with that San Diego Smoked video where we just dropped the atomic bomb because the Raiders just took over.
That was nice. I also like the I don't know what song it is, but it's the song "Turned Down for What." You guys replaced that lyric with "Denver Broncos" or "Broncos Suck," and thought that was very, very clever. Do you take already established music and just take the beat and rap over it, or do you like to do your own stuff, or mix of both, or what?
Most of it's original, but we call our CDs mixtapes. So in the traditional rap hip hop history of a mixtape, where you take someone else's previous hit and you rap and do your own lyrics to it. So Turn Down for What, Denver Broncos Suck. That was instigated from, I don't know if you know Mikey Raider, that has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So he was at the Bonfire Beach Party we were performing at a couple years ago, and Turn Down for What was on the sound system, and then all the power died and everything went out, and he was singing along to it, and he yelled, "Denver Broncos suck!" We were like, "That's so cool. That's perfect."
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So we just rolled with it, and it became a song. But the majority of the stuff's original, you know, and like, yeah, in the future when you get to talk to Shalif, he can tell you about, you know, his history and stuff. He grew up in Long Beach and Compton, and he's friends with, you know, super famous old school West Coast, like, gangster producers. And that's why he couldn't join us today, you know, one of his buddies that passed away. But you know, like one of his right-hand guys that's always helping, it's like his mentor, this guy Mo ZMD. And Mo ZMD, you know, has his name MD. He came up at the same time as Dr. Dre and those guys, and he produced a couple platinum hits for Tupac. And, you know, he helps with a lot of our stuff. A lot of the songs he's helped produce. And then, you know, I know when Shalif's done producing a track, he always shares it also with him to see what he thinks of it as well. So we got some big players in the background that are kind of, you know, just hanging around, going over the music, you know, and helping push us in the right direction as far as like the quality. And Shalif's a bad producer, bad meaning good.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's really cool. It's the music I grew up on, and you know, just to be able to be back in music again and be making music for the Raider Nation and be making music for this guy who he's a nonstop workaholic. Like, you know, you say like I do a bunch of stuff. This dude his concentration is music. He's thinking about it when he goes to sleep, and he's up at like 5:30 in the morning and rolling into the studio and working on it. He'll be sending me songs left and right. Like I went into the studio today because I knew if I didn't record my lyrics before we go on this Denver trip, that, you know, I might not get in on one of these songs because he'll already be done producing it. So like that's honestly why I made sure to squeeze it in my day today, because he is like so quick on the turn. I mean, we're working on a 4th album, and we're already like halfway through that.
Wow.
So at the rate we're going, we're doing one album per season, and it's every single track is Raider related. We're like pushing 60 songs about the Raiders right now.
That's awesome. You know what else is cool about it too is that not only the quantity of it, but the quality of the content is awesome. You mentioned what a good producer he is, and just by watching the videos and listening to it, it's good stuff. You can tell that these things aren't just getting thrown together. You know, you all are taking your time. You're crafting these songs together, and it's really really good stuff. I hope you're proud of your work because it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are, and yeah, I mean he is his worst critic. You know, like he'll be done with a couple tracks, and then he'll pull them back down and like take them off again, and you know, because he doesn't like the way the bass rumbles in one part of one song or something. And you know, you get as any producer that's real into their own production gets. And I'm like, I didn't even notice that, but that's cool. You know, whatever you got to do to make it sound top notch. So he puts a lot of time behind all the engineering that he does, and he's great with video too. He produced that music video for Monster Jam, and that video by far is our best video that's just been blowing up too. That's like pushing I believe it's like 150,000 or so at the moment. I'm not sure.
I'm glad you brought that one up, Aaron. It was actually my last question to you before we kind of have you plug all your stuff. Is Monster Jam is all about the monsters, if you will, the diehard super fans of Raider Nation, and it seems me and Josh we try to go to at least one game every year, and we try to do every other game somewhere else. So we've been to Tennessee, we've been to Atlanta, I've been up to Seattle way back in the day when the Seattle was still in the AFC West. When you go somewhere else, you don't quite see the passion, if you will, or the makeup that makes up Raider Nation. What is it about Raiders fans that maybe you've understood or seen in your travels that create this passion and drive to become a monster, if you will, of the Raider Nation, to become a super fan? Like, what is it about Raider Nation that drives people to do this?
Man, I don't know. I think it's like it's a calling for sure. You know, I thought about it for years. Like, what would I be? You know, if I was to be a monster, if I was a super fan. I go by Raider Mystic. You know, maybe I could dress up as this crazy old mystic in a silver and black robe and have a crystal ball and shit. And
there you go.
But you know, as far as that, I mean, that's just as diehard as it gets to know so much about a football team, to have such passion for that football team that you're flying to the away games and you're going to almost all the games. A lot of them are going to a lot of the games. And, you know, Gorilla, you know, of course, he's at every game. You know,
yeah.
He's always there, you know. Grim Raider, he was in Kansas City. I'm not sure if he hit the last one, but a Black Widow. A lot of, you know, we got so many different people that over the years, and yeah, to have that passion to actually create a character, create a monster. You know, it's kind of a phenomenon that I can't really explain. I think, but it's incredible. It's really cool that people can pull that off. And you know, in Denver we'll be seeing Abominable Raider. You know,
awesome.
Just all kinds of different people. That I'm like, where'd you come up with that?
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely extreme passion, and I like it.
It's unduplicated, and it's what causes somebody way up in Bend or Wygon to create a booster club for the Raiders. Aaron, real quick before we let you go, could you plug where people could check out Born and also where they can check out 4Dub?
Well, 4Dub, you can find our music page on Facebook. All you have to do is type in the number 4 DUB. It's all together, one word, 4 DUB. 4Dub will pop right up, as you'll see our little our mugs right there in Raider gear. Just click on that and like the page, please. And as far as Bend, Oregon Raider Nation, you know, we do have a Facebook page. It's a little more, we like to keep it a little more private to the local area. So it's not just everybody posting stuff, to keep more focused on what we're doing.
Sure.
But yeah, if you want to check us out, you can find us. We are on Facebook, or you can look us up on YouTube. We got some videos up there, or just Google us. You know, we pop right up. You'll see the news stories that have been done on us and some of the other cool stories. But just know that we exist, and we're in Bend, Oregon. And that's the cool thing about all this stuff is you hear about us on a podcast, or you hear about us through something else or through a friend. So when you're in Bend, you got a place to watch the game too. And we've gotten a lot of that this year specifically, like people that have heard about us, that there's a Raider Club in Bend and it's downtown at the Summit, or we saw you on, Raider Central on Mikey Raiders, or we heard about you on the Raider Nation podcast or another podcast. And I know there's a couple of us out there too that do that. And, everybody that's heard about us and been through Bend has checked in just to say hi and watch a game with us. And that's awesome too.
It's definitely on my to-do list for next season. We got one more game next year, and I don't think my two-wheel Kia will get me over the pass to come over there, or else I'd be out there this coming Sunday. Or I guess there's no more home games, I guess, this year. But anyway, Aaron, hey, thanks for coming on so much. We'd love to have you on in the future, maybe after the off-season, the start of next season, after we're celebrating that 4th Lombardi trophy that the backup nobody wanted, McGloin, leads us to. Josh, anything else you want to say before we go?
Thanks again, Aaron, for coming on. Appreciate all the hard work that you're doing out there in the community and spreading a positive image about not only the Raiders but of course Raider Nation, the most notorious fan base. So thank you for your hard work and what you're doing out there, and keep it up, man, because you're putting out great stuff, and we appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for having me on here, and thugs for hugs, thugs for hugs. Just keep it up. And go Raiders.
Go Raiders always. All right, take care, Aaron. Raiders. All right, we want to thank Aaron again one more time for coming into the Dego Dungeon. I told him to be about a 10-minute interview. It ended up, probably pushing 30, 40 minutes, I think there, Murf. But I love the fact that there were many things he mentioned that I didn't even get to. The fact that he drove down to every game from Bend, Oregon was pretty impressive to me, Josh. I don't know about you, but that's easily a 12-and-a-half, 13-hour drive, plus hotel, plus all that. Yeah, he got a free ticket, but, I mean, a lot of time on the road, the gas, that's dedication, huh?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's really cool. It obviously shows the dedication that he has to being a fan, but also the outpouring that he has also that comes from his fandom. I think that was a really unique thing that came out of that interview, and something that I was, not to over dramatize it here, but inspiring. What is it about Raider Nation that inspires someone to write 4 full-length albums worth of music about a football team, to organize a local community to one thing, to one event every single Sunday. What motivates guys to start a podcast and to dedicate, their free time to getting on and talking about and recording about the Oakland Raiders and putting it out there for the world to hear? I mean, look, I only have exposure to a couple of football teams in firsthand exposure, and that would be one when I grew up in the Bay Area. Well, actually 3. I lived in South Florida for a little while and saw what the Miami Dolphins fans were like. And now I live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and I see what goes on in fandom. And as far as Titans fans go, there's nothing like this. There's nothing like this. I think that Raider Nation is unique in its own to what it does. Another example, what drives the people, you mentioned the Monsters. When you look at all those people, look at all the Violator and Gorilla Rilla and Dr. Death and Grim Raider, and it's we could sit here for an hour and name all the people that are super fans, that are legit super fans, that legit travel and It's great. It's great. I think that's a really, really cool. And I don't think it's over dramatizing by using the word. It's inspirational. It's fun stuff. And he's a big part of it.
And the part that really I thought was really inspirational was the fact that he visited a guy in the hospital room. If nothing else, using fandom to go deeper. You know what I'm saying? And I know me and you have personally had conversations where it starts out, what'd you think of the Raiders today? And it moves to talking about family and stuff like that. But to use the Raiders as a bridge, if you will, to make a connection with another human being, that's life. There's nothing more important in life than relationships. And the fact that he used Raider Nation to bridge a gap, to go visit a guy in the hospital, to give him hope, who in turn was instilling hope in Aaron himself, I thought that was beautiful, man. That was really cool. So really inspiring, really good to know that there are good Raider fans out there. This week's been
there's a couple of them.
This week's been a little difficult without the car going down and people calling out people saying you're not bandwagon you're bandwagon if you don't have hope anymore, and just yada yada yada. Through all that noise, to hear Aaron's message of we're serving in our community, we're serving the homeless, we're serving young kids who have really bad diseases. I'm meeting a guy in the hospital, sharing stories, encouragement like that. That was awesome, man. So again, big props to Aaron Chambers for coming on the show. And we encourage all you guys, if you don't know who we are, we call ourselves the Degos. The show used to be called Raiders Repertoire, but we're actually changing it to be called Raiders Fancast. So you can look us up on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Libsyn.com under Raiders Fancast and check us out. Check out our previous episodes. We try to drop one episode per week, and it's a podcast by fans for fans, and that's basically it. Josh, anything else you want to say before we go?
Look, you're not the only one up there in the Pacific Northwest holding it down for Raider Nation, right?
I feel like I have a brother now. I know. I'm going to go visit them. We're going to go hang out and stuff like that. And until I do, Raiders from Raider Nation continues to... We're taking over!